Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, 1st October, every year, we do celebrate our parents, grandparents, in terms of older persons. It's a day that was recognized by the United Nations. And so every time it reaches 1st October, we do commemorate, not commemorate, but celebrate our, the elderly, all the older persons, if you like. In fact, in Uganda, we even have a minister for that, which falls under, we have a minister for that who falls under the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. I think the current minister for the older persons is Mr. Gitutu, if I'm not mistaken. He is actually Mr. Gitutu, yes. So, being that it is coming closer, I've brought a guest who is one of those who are advocating for the rights of the older persons. It's a female, and she's going to be introduced, saying much about herself, what she does. Though, like I said earlier, it's not the first time we're having her on this very show, The Day Break. Gabriela Malaika is my guest this morning. Good to have you, madam. A very good morning.
Thank you so much. I am called Malaika. I'm Malaika Gabriela Ligami, the Executive Director for an aged care organization that supports and advocates for the rights of older persons by the name JAFOA, that's Jehovah Alive for Old Age, founded in Uganda, and our offices are founded in Kira Municipality, Wakiso District.
Did I mention that you look so smart and beautiful in African attire?
Yes, I'm an African, and I raise voices for Africa and for the Africans. So I love being African.
And as a Pan-Africanist, I'm so much touched and inspired by your dress code.
Thank you so much.
You're saying that, let's start with the 2024, Older Persons Day. It always happens on 1st October, I'm right about that, right?
Yes, it always happens 1st October. That's when we are celebrating the International Day for the Older Persons. And the month of September, it's a month that we go out there and we create awareness through talk shows, radio talk shows, TV shows, just to create the awareness among the public, among the people on the rights of our older persons. But 1st October is the key day for the celebration.
We're also going to hold our national celebrations?
Yes, we are going to hold our national celebrations, which will be...
Before we get into the national celebrations, I was looking at the international theme for this particular, and they're saying aging with dignity. The importance, of strengthening care and support systems for the older persons worldwide. Population aging is a major global trend reshaping societies worldwide. So life expectancy at birth now exceeds 75 years in half of the world's countries, 25 years longer than in 1950. Aging with dignity. In your opinion, as one of the advocates of the rights of these people, the older persons, why would they come up with this theme? And what do you think it represents? It signifies aging with dignity.
Aging with dignity, that's a global or international theme. And we have zeroed it down as Uganda, as a nation, and our theme is promoting the rights of our older persons, promoting and protecting the rights of our older persons, which is everyone's responsibility, which means even a child, the youth, the women, the men, the adults, it is their responsibility to do what? To promote and protect the rights of our older persons. So when we say aging with dignity, once these rights are looked into and we practice the rights, then as they age or as we are aging with a dignified life and a healthy life, and of course the world will be a better place for all of us to live in.
Does that mean that you had realized, when I say the UN and those who are advocating for the rest of the elder or the older persons, had they realized that as one ages, their dignity kind of goes down?
Yes, now that's where we get into the elder abuse because once we are aging and once we are not creating the awareness out there that even older persons, both men and female, they have the rights to live, they have the rights to food, they have the rights to their finances, they have the right to their property.
And have they had these rights denied by anybody? Is there anyone who's violating their rights?
Yes, we have the people, the community, even where they live in, they violate those rights. And that's why we are here. We are on the radio stations, we are on TV shows like now to fight.
Yes, actually I've seen on TV, you see some tragic news where you hear that an older woman was attacked in her room or in her house and she was raped. I've seen such stories, tragic stories. So when you talk of abusing the rights of the elderly, I remember such things I've heard. I've seen, you know, where children are forcing their aging father, you know, to scatter the land so that they can, each one can get, and when he says no, they end up, you know, hacking him to death. I've seen such things. Are these some of the things that you're looking at, that you want to fight?
Yes, thank you so much, presenter. And that's where we are. The theme being promoting the rights and protecting also the rights of the older persons, which is
that's our national theme.
That's our national theme. The global theme is aging with dignity. But the national theme is promoting and protecting the rights of our older persons, which is everyone's what? Responsibility.
Sure.
Yes.
Because it's from them that we came.
Yes. And just to pin it, to bring it down, we have the elder abuse, what you just mentioned a few seconds back. And what's an elder? Yes. And what's elder abuse? Elder abuse is anything that is mistreatment or harm that is caused to an older person that causes death or causes loss or harm to our older persons. Now, that's when we also break down. In our communities, we have seen these older persons being harassed, being abused psychologically. Now, that's where the mental torture comes in. They are neglected, they are forgotten, no one cares about them. The caregivers who are supposed to give them the life or to take care of them, they abandon them. Already that's an abuse. And also we have the self-negligence, whereby they just abandon themselves. They know we are supposed to shower, we are supposed to take our drugs, but they don't do it.
That is self-negligence now.
Self-negligence, like they have just given up on life, they are waiting just on their day to die. So that's why we go out in those communities and we are here on shows telling the world, telling the public that we can help such older persons. They still have life to live, not to forget and negligent about. You've seen some older persons even who don't shower, but there is water.
I see a number of them on the streets.
They have to take their medicine, they go to hospital, but they don't want. Other abuses, we have the financial abuse, where we have maybe family, maybe the community itself, maybe relatives, maybe their own children, attacking their resources, their property, even their pension money, or even after selling their produce and they take their money. So those are financial
I thought
abuse.
the vulnerable older persons that we are talking about are those who didn't get a chance to go to school, who are not enlightened, who are not educated. Now, when you mentioned pension, I'm like,
even those ones who have money, who even have the pension, they also have torture. Yes. Just point in place, in one of the communities that we are serving, we have this old man, this one old man, but aging with disability, blind, with his resources. He can no longer see, but he used to see when he was our age. But aging with blindness, he got his pension. So to get even 10,000, he has to call a grandkid or his son to count the money. To go to the bank, he has to get his son to sign. So instead of withdrawing 1 million, someone just adds a zero. If it's 100, they add another. Isn't that an abuse?
It is.
Yes.
And when you spoke, in fact, from the question I was posing to you, I also remembered something. There's where I was reading. There's one prominent person in this country, a very rich man, who owns a number of industries, who happens to be husband to another prominent person who used to be a minister. She was a minister. She's no longer a minister. I won't mention names, but if someone is out there and has been reading, must know the person I was talking about. Now, I was reading somewhere, and I realized, or I found out that this man is being domestically abused by his own wife. She cut off all the relations he had with his, family. And she's not allowing his sisters to come and visit him. He's there, grounded at home, not even a maid there to help him. So such a thing, now we talk about two problems here: domestic violence and the abuse of older person's rights. Have you found such incidents, and how do you deal with them?
Now, that's two in one. Though I don't know the parties, both the man and the woman.
Of course, I can't mention them, but like I said, they're prominent people. Prominent people.
So in this case, that's a domestic violence, and that's it's an abuse already. Yes, and it's escalating in Uganda, where we are finding out so many cases in such a scenario.
Maybe I can simplify it this way. Let me give you another scenario. You see, not only African men, I was about to say African men, but men across the globe. We found that a man could get married to a woman whom he is like 30 years older, or 25. And then as he's approaching his 60s or 70s, the woman is in her 40s or late 30s. And in such circumstances, these women tend to torture these men. As you're advocating for the rights of the older persons, haven't you come across such incidents? And how would you deal with them?
We have come across such incidences now. That's why we have older persons counselors, yes, where we encourage these older persons who are facing such issues to report to the police station, to the authorities on the violation of their rights. So such an older person who is in 70s and the wife is in 30s or in 40s, he has a right to go ahead and report. And we can also support him as CSOs, as government, with the older person counselors to help them in it. And also, apart from reporting, encouraging all older persons, both men and women, because we don't only have scenarios whereby the man is older and the woman is younger. Now think of the situation whereby the woman is now older. Which is
strange, which is unusual.
No, it is happening. And the woman, the husband is younger. So when such...
That's very unusual, really. Finding a family where a man is younger and a woman, where, for example, could find a woman in her 70s and a man in 40s. Isn't that strange in our African setting?
It is, but it happens. So we encourage such cases. We encourage older person to report to authority, to police, to seek help when it comes to such violences or abuses amongst themselves. Another thing, we also encourage a peer group among the older persons. Remember, we have peer group among the youth, even the children, we have the peer group, even the women, the girl child. We also encourage peer group among the older person. It really helps.
And what's that? Elaborate more there.
Now, peer group is whereby we cluster them. We cluster them. Like now in the communities, we cluster them per house, 10-10 or 20-20. And where
you do what? They're like encourage them to engage in some activities. Because
activities.
Peer groups where they could engage in something that is going to harm their health. So for example, they could be forming groups that are going to be drinking malua, cigarette smoking groups.
We encourage, it's for the good. It's for their good.
For the good cause.
So we encourage them to form older persons peer groups among themselves. It's so healthy to them. Like now,
where they could meet and talk about their problems,
Not necessarily that. Now, like Jafoa, what we have done, we have grouped them. When they meet, they do some aerobics, they do some exercises, spiritual sharing.
That's very good.
Because at that age, they really need to know more about God, about hope. That's why it's a season of restoring hope, that all will also be well. And then in the same peer group, we realize also we do like talent sharing. You'll find out some of the older parts, they know how to dance, storytelling, in that course, yes.
Because they were younger before the age.
Yes. And
So they did everything we're doing.
when we engage them in that,
Yes.
that's when they open up.
Okay.
You see, they open up. Oh, my wife has locked the bedroom. My wife is no longer giving me food. So it becomes a concern, not for only one person, but it becomes a concern for the team, for the group.
Maybe
And
they
then
could
for
even
us-
summon her and talk to her. After all, she's a fellow older person. They could
Yes.
sit her down and be like, why are you torturing your...
our fellow older person. And then another thing is we also encourage support and care of older persons, just supporting them. You find in a community or a neighbor with an older person going through an issue, just supporting them, being there for them. It's encouraging.
It is. And it's
Yes.
godly.
And it's good.
Yes, when you do such a thing, help the elderly. I remember when we were young, in those lessons of CRE and IRE, we are taught you find an old person struggling, you know, if they are carrying some heavy luggage, help them. Even as kids, I remember we used to be told that thing. Now, here we have you, individuals, you know, NGOs, CBOs coming in to help these people. The question is, where is the government? You were then, you realized that there are gaps. There are so many gaps, and so you came in to bridge the gaps.
Yes.
Because one day I was appearing, you know, in a certain press conference where the minister was speaking the nation. The same minister I talked about, Honorable Gitutu. And I pointed out to him that here you are saying we're the media center. I told him, here you are saying you are advocating or protecting the rights of the elderly, but you're not doing what is enough. When I walk on the streets of Kampala late in the night, after I've left BTM where I anchor the news, you know, going back home around 11 or 10, I see a number of older persons sleeping in the streets of Kampala. And I was like, what are you doing about this? Here you are saying you're a minister for the older persons. Your fellow older persons are sleeping in the streets as you sleep in your comfortable homes. And his response was not satisfactory. So you, when you came out, because he was like, look, we can't help everybody, we don't have the capacity, but he talked about having, you know, plans to construct them houses. But I could tell he was lying to me. And I was like, you're lying to me. You can't do that. So you coming in as NGO people, did you first realize that there are some, you know, gaps that you need to bridge? And if you could do some self-evaluation, do you feel you've moved?
Thank you so much, presenter. You've always asked me that question, and you're really concerned. Why I'm laughing, you're really concerned.
I'm concerned
about
because really,
this older
finding a
persons on the
90-year-old,
street.
I see these women, older women in the street, and I'm wondering where their people are. Don't they have grandchildren? Don't they have, you know, children? Where did they go? Imagine finding a 90-year-old. I wish I could do something. That's one of the things I look at. I look at and I'm like, I wish I had the capacity to do this. I told you I was raised by my grandmother. Thanks to God, life was not bad, it was good. But when I move on the streets and I see this older woman, 90 years, sitting under the scorching sun, begging, I'm like, God, I wish I had the capacity to take all these people and find a home for them.
Okay, once again, you love that question, and it's good because when you find out you're asking the same question again and again, I believe you've not gotten a satisfactory answer to it. As CSOs, we plan, let me talk on behalf of JAFOA.
Yeah.
Our future plan is to have a home for the older persons, where we shall be taking those ones who are really, really vulnerable into the home, and we serve them and we support them. And why I am saying that now, if we just go back, the main reason or the main purpose or the main reasons why we have escalating older persons abuse in Uganda, it's poverty. Because now those women, 90-year-old, 70-year-old, 60, they are on the streets, sleeping on the streets. They are so vulnerable to sexual abuse. They are so vulnerable to physical abuse, being tortured, being beaten by the street kids or the street boys. So we look forward to have a home for the older persons. It is in plan already, And this home for the older persons, it's all well, it's going to be like self-contained. It will have the dormitories for the men and the female older persons, also a school for the children. They are often vulnerable children under their care. It will have a hospital, that's a mini dispensary or clinic for them, a conference hall, as in that's what we are looking forward to.
Where is that going to be?
In Kayunga.
You've already purchased the land. You have the land there.
The land is there. We had a donation given to us with one of the
Are we talking about the entire nation, the entire country? We're going to traverse the entire country looking for those vulnerable?
No.
Or it's going to be regional, that in every region
it
you
will
have
be every
such...
region, because I, for one, our permit allows us to operate regionally.
Oh.
Regionally meaning we can be in Uganda, we can be in Tanzania, we can be in South Sudan. It's a regional permit.
Wait, you're across the globe, the region, East African region?
You said I look like an African woman. I'm African, so we are going Africa.
So you're not advocating for the older persons of Uganda?
Older persons in Africa
Yeah.
and in Uganda, because we are here.
You're based in Uganda?
Uganda.
Oh.
So we start from home,
Yeah,
and
sure.
then we spill out the good news to the rest of the world. Yes.
So out there in those other countries,
Before you go to the other country, I was still answering that question for
Please.
the older persons who are
Please.
on the streets. I think you really get so hard to see
yes,
that.
it's so touching. I don't know whether you've seen these people. I'm
I
talking
haven't seen them.
You've not?
I have not seen. I think
Malaika, where do you live? In
I
Kampala?
drive through Kampala, but
Oh,
I
you
only
drive.
see children.
Okay, you're a planned kid. But take some time and just walk around. Go to Lumu, which is just a few meters from here. You're going to see a 90-year-old at 1 p.m., 2 p.m. seated under that scorching sun with her hand. There's so many on the streets of Kampala, and I'm like,
So-
imagine this.
Just what I was sharing, the main cause of the elder abuse, because already that's a mental or psychological abuse or torture. It's poverty, then ignorance. They don't know that they need to go to the next leaders or
Who?
even
These
the
people are
else's.
ignorant.
They are ignorant.
The
Even
older
poverty.
person.
Even their caregivers, they have where they are coming from.
We're talking about people who never acquired education. We're talking about people who could have, been driven out of their land after their husband, because most of them are women. In fact, I've not seen a man.
Then
Yes, that's another concern, by the way. The people talk about the older persons are all females.
female.
So meaning, this could be the people who were driven out of their land after their husbands passed on.
Yeah.
The widows.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another thing I've realized. I've not seen any man, but they're all women.
So I think as CSOs, we
What?
have to take up from there, because we have to get the details to ensure we know their particulars. Why are they on the streets? And we take the next step, either to work with the authorities, because the government is doing its part for sure. We congratulate it for what they have done.
They don't
And
deserve those congratulations. They have not done enough.
They
Even the KCC, they have not done enough because, what have they done? Tell me. Other than having a ministry there where it has, a minister, where there are so many people are employed at the expense of other persons, they've not helped them in any way. Unless you educate me, how have they helped them?
their programs.
Giving them 20,000 monthly.
No.
What can it even do? In fact, let me tell you nothing. Because I had my colleague, when we did things out to Mr. Honorable Kitutu. Kitutu?
Yes.
I hope I'm pronouncing his name. Honorable, sir. I hope I'm pronouncing his name
Honorable
correctly.
Kidutu.
Honorable Kitutu. I had my colleague from here, and after I posed my questions, and I told you how he answered to me, my colleague asked him this question. It's a lady. She was like, Honorable Minister, really, in your conviction, do you think this 20,000 shillings is enough? This was his response, I remember correctly. And he was like, okay, can you give it to me now? Do you have 20,000 shillings? Can you give it to me? And then we all laughed it off. He was like, the fact that you can't give it to me, it means that it's really much money. So if we give it these people, it can do something. But really, is 20,000, is it all the government can do? They can do better than this. Now, when you tell me that you want to congratulate them, I don't feel they deserve those congratulations. They've not done what is enough This government has the capacity to get all these older persons off the streets. After all, there are not even many. There are not very many. So you coming in as members of the NGO to bridge this gap, I think you are not only bridging the gap, but you are doing something, you're providing services that were not in place before.
Thank you so much, presenter. Yeah, I'm just laughing because you're talking with a lot of pain. And I'm so happy because being a youth, as you are.
I told you where I come from.
Where you come from.
To be concerned like that.
Yes.
Because when I look at this person, I kind of visualize
my grandmom, because you were brought up with an older person.
Yes.
Just as I've told you, the main cause of this abuse, it's poverty. And secondly, who are these older persons on the street? You've not seen the men. You've seen the women.
All female,
which means it's an escalating number of the widows. Maybe they were thrown out of their land, of their property, and that's why they find themselves there. Now, coming to my point where I'm congratulating the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Gender for what they have done. What have they done? They have come up with programs.
What programs?
The programs to support the older person like SEGO, social enterprise groups, whereby they're giving older persons 1 million, yes, to run their business. And we have seen older persons getting engaged. It's just because I think the information has not reached down on the ground. So we have a program called SEGO, we have the PDM, we have the SAGE. I know you are laughing, but it is true.
Because I'm wondering, if myself, I don't know about these programs, how will that old man, old woman in his 70s, early 80s, really, how they heard about these programs? I've not seen them even, publicized like we've had the PDMs, the Myoga.
SEGO has been publicized. It caters for older person from 60 to 79 years. Because the SAGE money, the 25,000, actually it's not 20, it's 25. To add a note on that, 25,000 Uganda money. I think how many dollars are those?
You haven't got dollars.
Okay.
It's going to be so small dollars.
We maintain Uganda. So, I am told, my English teacher kept on telling me, it's better a half bread than full bread. So we better have what we have now as we're improving. And they don't get this money per month. They get the money after 3 months. So by the time you get that 120, it is good money, 75,000.
By the way, before the government came up with this initiative, in their conviction, they were like, okay, what are we helping these people? By giving them this money, this amount, what are we looking at? What do we think they can use it for? Their conviction for them, in fact, how did they even arrive at this amount? Were they like, okay, if I give you 25,000 shillings, I'm like, this is your monthly food, this is your rent, this is your medication. How did they settle down? I know you don't work with government, but because you are privy to some information that I'm not, given the fact that you work, you must be rubbing shoulders with some of the people in the Ministry of Gender and Labour and Social Development. You must know how the government settled or zeroed down to 25,000. And in their conviction, well, they were like, okay, what is this other person meant to use this money for? Is it for rent, medication, food? I'm looking at this as money that you can even give to a 10-year-old as their pocket money, and they just look at you like this. Because it's not enough. It's too much.
Thank you so much. Just as I've said, I think it was a survey first to see will it work, and it is working.
It is working?
Yes, and they're appreciating it.
You're being sarcastic, Ms. Malaika.
I'm not sarcastic.
Have you seen these people? Have you seen these people satisfied? I've seen the Morris lamenting, saying,
but remember,
let me tell you the stories I've heard them. I mean, the statements I've heard them say. They are like, we are, asking the government to consider at least adding something, because this is not enough. But considering the economy or the country that we live in, what can 25,000 do? And you've just said it yourself. It even comes quarterly. I even also heard the minister say that.
Yes, it
quarterly.
comes quarterly.
So you giving it to someone after a period of 4 months or 3 months. And what can this do? So when you meet these people, they tell you that we arrived at this amount because of ABCD. And by giving them this money, we think that this money could help them to do ABCD. What are some of the things that, the factors they considered and the things, they thought that these older persons could use this money, to do?
Just as I said, Ali, thank you for that question.
Oh, in fact, let me qualify just a second. Why I am pointing it out to you, because I've had some people even say that this is mockery to our grants. You're giving my grant 25,000. And you talk about people who have, worked hard for this country to be where it is now. And all you can give them is this. Take it up.
Now, 25,000 is given from the age of 80 and above. 25,000 is only available to those older persons who are not on pension, who are not public servants. Now, this one, as you look at that, you'll find that most of these older persons getting this 25,000 are down on the grassroots, in the community, in the villages. So most of these older persons, they are not renting. They are landlords. They are staying on their own land, in their own homes. So this money was just to help them, maybe for food, maybe for drugs, because the renting is being sorted already. And we have seen...
You're not so sure about that. You're not so sure.
Not sure about
You think that all of them are landlords, really? I just told you.
No, not all of them are landlords.
But let's first take a short break, Ms. Malaika. When we come back, we are going to continue to talk about the rights of the older persons. She is Malaika Gabriela, the Executive Director of JAFOA, an advocate of the rights of our older persons. Like I told you earlier, that 1st October is going to be, it's always been, a day for the older persons. And the theme this year is aging with dignity. Respect older persons wherever you find them. When we were kids, that's how we were raised. I remember in CRE, IRE questions, you find an older person struggling on the street, they have heavy luggage, help them. They're on a hill, help them push their bike. We'll be right back after this break. Don't go.
Discover delicacy at Cafe Atu, your all-in-one destination. Whether it's the perfect cup of coffee or a satisfying meal, we got you covered. Indulge your cravings with our mouth-watering pilau, savory katogo, crispy chips, and tender chicken. Explore our world of cocktails and fresh juices for a truly special treat. Planning an event? Choose Cafe Atu for top-notch outside catering services. Benefit from ample parking, stay connected with Wi-Fi, and catch your favorite matches on DSTV. Cafe Atu offers food deliveries in and around Kampala. Hosting a conference, our center accommodates up to 1,000 people. Need a boardroom for a party or corporate meeting? We've got just the spot for you. We offer a free venue for birthdays and baby showers, providing complimentary photography. For those aspiring to become professional baristas, our barista school awaits you. Visit us at Albany Center, Level 2 on Ginger Road. Cafe Atu, where every occasion becomes a memorable experience.
Where is the location?
Thank you so much for staying with us. You're still watching the Daybreak. My name is Idrissa Mwonge. I'm not alone in the studios, but I'm privileged to be with a beautiful, traditional African woman, Miss Gabriela Malaika. And she's doing a very good job, by the way, on both sides. One, she's advocating for the rights of the older persons. And also, you are head for the Jehovah?
Alive for All Age.
Yes, you're doing for that spiritual, work. You're on a spiritual mission.
Both spiritual, physical.
When you mention Jehovah,
No, it's not a church, it's just a name.
It's a name.
Yes,
But,
but we reach out to the elder persons, giving them hope.
Oh, indeed.
There is hope again.
So what you're doing is really very good, and it's very important. And I was telling people here, you see, it doesn't take long in Uganda, not even a week, before you see news where they're telling that someone has committed suicide. People have lost hope. They are, broken. And so when someone comes out and says that they want to instill hope into these people, they are despaired. So it's really, really called for, it's important. That's why I was praising the work we're doing. If you're saying that you are there to instill hope into these people, you're doing a good job. Now, going back to the national celebrations of the older persons, where are we going to be? And what is, you already told us the theme. What are we looking forward, to doing? What are some of the, future prospects that you're having as, advocates of the older person's rights?
Thank you so much for that question. It has been an exciting morning from my presenter.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Once again, welcome back. I am Malaika Gabriela Ligami, the Executive Director, JAFOA. JAFOA, our motto is to give hope back to our older persons. And that's why we are celebrating the International Day for the Older Persons in partnership with Government of Uganda, in line of my ministry, my supervisory ministry, Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. We shall be in Masaka, Liberation Ground, and in Masaka, it's a Masaka city anyway, where all this celebration will be taking place. And activities that are going to be on the ground, Ministry of Health, in partnership with civil society or NGOs like JAFOA, we're going to carry out health camp or a medical camp, where we shall be having a 2-day health outreach to the older persons. Remember, medication and health to these older persons is key. And you find out they have challenges when it comes to health and health care. So such a day or on such a function, that's when we get numbers coming in to celebrate their day and at the same time to come for free medication. So in the health camp, JAFOA will be in, we shall be among the team that will carry out this activity. The Sight Savers Uganda will be on the ground giving the glasses and checking their eyesight, their cataracts. We shall have the HIV screening, and we shall have Kitovu Mobile and other NGOs that will be on the ground.
Particularly for the older persons?
Specifically for older persons. We shall have also other NGOs that will be on the ground. And then there are other activities. Actually, the main activity also on that day is
I forgot to ask you this, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I need to know, or even Ugandans need to know that. In your perception, what age are you talking about? Where there's an older person, who's considered an older person? 50, 40, 52, 60?
Thank you so much for that question. According to the UN, older person, which was also adopted by the Constitution of Uganda, our older persons is anyone from the age of 60 years and above. So when you click 60, you're already an older person in the community. Yes.
And you're entitled to those privileges.
So on that 1st of October, though the medical camp or the health camp will start on Monday, where JAFOA, we shall be on the ground already, screening and reaching out to the older persons, the main activity will be on 1st October. And the outcome, why we are doing all this, why we've been on radios, on shows, TV shows, the whole of September, we are creating awareness out there to the community, to the public, on promoting and protecting the rights of our older persons, which is everyone's responsibility. We just want the percentages or the numbers of elder abuse to come down, because it's escalating. And we want the community or the public to help the elderly. That's the way you open up the second session. You close the first session saying, when you see an older person, help, carry the bag, help him climb the hill with a bicycle. Those are small things, but to them they are so big to their hearts. Yes, it keeps on making them move on.
And as believers, you know that when you do such, of course, you get blessings from the Almighty High.
Exactly.
So that we should teach our children to do that, like we are raised. And also, even ourselves, I think we have a lot we can do. And I also call upon the government. Though I heard you praise them, but I think the government are not doing enough.
Yeah.
I think one day you should find time off your busy schedule. Then I take you around Kampala. It's not very far, just from the street here. You're going to find older women in their 90s. I'm not even talking about 60s. 90s seated under the scorching sun, begging. And the question is, where is the government? So when you tell me that there's some initiatives the government has come up with, I don't feel they're doing enough.
I think the next time, by the grace of God, if I'm to come back on air, you need an answer to that. Yes, I'll get time.
And also another, I think I've observed another observation. The first one I gave it to you, that most of them are females.
Yes.
But the other observation is that most of them don't seem to be coming from around. They're not from this region. They are most likely to be coming from either deep in the east or northwestern or northern region or even some West Nile. But I've not seen someone from this region where we are or western region. That's another observation I've made.
So I think we shall have to take it deeper. As CSOs, remember we work in line with the government of Uganda to see that the lives of older persons are better and dignified. So we have to get on the ground to see, to get the details. Where are they coming from? Can we attach them back to the communities they came from? Do they have anyone where they came from, like relatives or even leaders down there? If they, we can even
remember
start
last time you
from
told me
here.
those who you reunited with there.
Yes, yes, we reunite.
But are they willing to welcome them? Because in the first place, how did they separate?
They go through counseling first. We have done it. We have testimonies.
Who do you counsel?
And cases.
The other people,
The other people,
Or
you
even
counsel both sides. The older persons maybe might have left in annoyance, or the other party, the family might have acted overboard. So you talk to both, and then you reunite. So I think it's a step. It's a question you've kept on asking whenever I come here. I think we have to take a step into it, because it's an abuse to get a 90-year-old on the scorching sun. Mental abuse, psychological abuse, even physically is abused. So we need to take up from there. We get their details, and we see how, even when we are fixing them back to the community, how we can make them fit better in the communities they are coming from. And if you talk of north and east and far west, these are areas which are really prone to poverty. Too much poverty in those areas. So you might find us
Could be
such
the
are the
factor
cases.
which drives them away.
Yes. So we can come up with programs or attach them to government programs like SEGO, social enterprise groups, where they get some money and they support themselves.
I thank you so much, Malaika Ligami Gabriela. Do you have any parting shots to make as we get out of here?
Parting shows. I'm so grateful to be hosted on this show.
The Daybreak.
The Daybreak. I'm so happy, and by my names, I'll remain Malaika Gabriela Ligami, in honor of our older persons, an advocate for the elderly, our seniors, and I'm so grateful to be part of this show. I serve as an executive director at JAFOA, which means Jehovah Life for the Older Persons, And you can find us on our website, www.jaffa.org. There, that's where we are found.
Thank you so much, Miss Malaika Gabriela Ligami, there for you. She's the Executive Director for JAFOA. She's an advocate of the rights of the older persons, which should be everybody's duty. Hey, who brought you into this world? If you are in your 30s or 40s, the person who brought you into this world must be now in their 50s or 60s, meaning they are older persons. And so, when you find an older person on the street, even if you don't know that person, you relate. You know, look at this as your father or your mother. My name is Idrissa Monge. Thank you so much for always watching the Daybreak. Enjoy our subsequent programming. Until we meet again, that is going to be tomorrow, inshallah. Goodbye for now. See you then.